Hey y'all, it's Leilani Jade here, aka the Joys of Jade. Today we're going to be making sweet potato crust pizza with smoky cashew cheese and sun-dried tomato sauce. So we're going to start with the sweet potato crust. You're going to only need 3 ingredients. You're going to grab some mashed sweet potato, coconut flour, and tapioca starch, and we're also going to be using this for the cheese later on as well. I just cooked these sweet potatoes in my Instant Pot. You can also make them in the microwave or boil or steam them, however you like to make it. We're going to start by taking 2 cups of mashed sweet potato. So we did 2 cups of sweet potato. We're going to do 1/2 cup of coconut flour. And I like to buy my coconut flour in bulk at the health food store, any natural food co-op. They usually have the cheapest prices. 1/4 cup of this. Now the last part is optional. You can kind of choose if you want to add some spices to your crust. We're going to add a little bit of rosemary and just a pinch of salt as well. I'm just going to start using my hands to mix this around a little bit to form it into a pizza dough. Coconut flour is really absorbent, so it really helps absorb a lot of the liquid from the steamed sweet potato. I know some of you were asking if you could use a different flour, so I have not tested this recipe with a different type of flour, so I'd recommend just sticking to coconut flour. Now we're going to divide this into 4 equal sections. And we're actually going to be starting by using a pan to make these and get them firm, get them coming together. And then once we have that, we'll put all our toppings on and stick them in the oven. To form the pizza crust, you're going to start by rolling each section into a ball, and you can use a rolling pin to flatten it out. I didn't have one, so I used my fingers to make a circle. And if you need to, add just a little bit of coconut flour on the outside if it feels too sticky. You want to be able to easily transfer it to a pan over medium heat, and then flip when each side is lightly toasted. And once each side is done, you're going to transfer it to a baking pan with parchment paper. Next, we're going to be making the tomato sauce. So we're just going to use diced tomatoes and some sun-dried tomatoes. So you're going to want to start by pouring all the water out of the can so that your tomato sauce isn't too runny. Let's do 4 for good luck. Blend that up. Next, we're going to be making our smoky cashew cheese sauce. So we're going to start by taking 1 cup of cashews, add 1 cup of water, 1/2 teaspoon of smoked paprika. So this is optional, but it again adds to the smoky, hickory flavor of the cheese. Next, we're going to be adding 3 tablespoons of the tapioca starch. Next, we're going to take 1/2 teaspoon of salt, and at the end you can always adjust the flavor if you need more salty. Next, I added 2 small cloves of garlic, but you can always add less or more depending on your taste. I added the juice from 1/2 of a lemon, and I also added 1 teaspoon of liquid smoke. Liquid smoke is what really helps give it that smoky flavor that we're trying to go for in this recipe. And if you don't have a high-speed blender like this one, make sure you soak your cashews in warm to boiling water for at least 30 minutes before you blend it up. You want it to be nice and smooth so that when you heat it up on a pan over medium heat, it doesn't have any texture to it. It's going to start to form clumps like this, but don't worry, just keep stirring the whole time. The texture will eventually correct itself. You saw on my Instagram I posted the same recipe using tofu instead of cashews. So I found that tofu looks a lot more like melted cheese, and the cashews is a lot thicker and creamier. It looks more like fresh mozzarella, but I actually prefer the taste of the cashew cheese. Now you're just going to assemble everything together. Go ahead, add your tomato sauce and your veggies. We added chopped mushrooms, chopped tomato, and red onion, as well as some fresh basil once it was done cooking. Then I stuck these in the oven at 400 degrees Fahrenheit for about 15 minutes. Alright, so I'm here with my friend Rachel. We're gonna give this a try. And she's Italian, so she should know if this is good or not.
Yum.
That's pretty good.
Really good.
These three go really well together.
Yum. Really, really good. The cheese really tastes like smoky mozzarella.
And I like the slight sweetness of the crust.
Me too. Wow, that's really good.
Yeah, it's a good combo.
The cheese is so good.
Only 3 ingredients for the crust.
Yeah, that really doesn't take that much time.
It doesn't.
There you go. I hope you guys enjoyed this recipe. If you give it a try, be sure to tag me on Instagram at Joys of Jade. And if you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe and give this video a thumbs up. Catch you in the next one.